Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Heroes podcast. We are in our 2020 year, new decade. We have season 3 of our Wonder Woman series happening right now. And today I have a special Wonder Woman with me. Her name is Jen Meyer. Jen, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, how are you today?
I am well, Felicia. I'm so glad that we could connect and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, yes. When I got your story, it's absolutely amazing. Can't wait for you to share. So, Jen, let's just jump right into it. Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Let's give a background of yourself.
Sure. So I am from Kansas. I actually lived in the same house my whole entire life, and my mom still lives there. I'm 42. I guess I can say my age. That's fine. I have 2 kids. They're both high school and middle school now, so they're teenagers. I have one of each. I have a girl and a boy. My husband is in the Air Force. He actually flies those fighter jets, which is exciting.
Wow.
Right now he's flying a desk, though. He's training and doing some training of students. So I get to work on a regular basis with young men and women, mostly women, that are spouses and significant others of that training group. So it's been a really cool experience I feel like young and alive getting to work with those young people. What else can I tell you? I live in Florida.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Lovely place. Yes.
Lovely place.
Near the water. So it's a beautiful view every day taking my kids to school.
And Jen, what do you actually, what do you do for a living? I know you're a wife, you're a mom. That's all part of who you are. But do you have, I know you mentioned you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. I do a few things. One of the smaller things that I've taken on recently is I have a booth at a local antique mall, and I've really enjoyed getting to kind of go into that realm, getting to decorate and keep it updated. But what I'm most passionate about is my Stella and Dot business. And for those of you that haven't heard of Stella and Dot, we're a company. We're into social retail this year. We've actually combined with our other 2 sister companies, Ever and Keep Collective, and I can sell all 3 brands now. Stella and Dot is it used to be jewelry exclusively. Now we have things like scarves and handbags, wallets. We have apparel, which I absolutely love getting to, kind of when I work with my customers, I get to do a whole look for them. Like they can get a bag, they can get jewelry, they can get the top to go with it. They can even get leggings. We have a really cool pair of leggings that just came out recently. And so, yeah, I love being able to work with my customers to develop a whole style for them, a whole look.
That is so neat. I'm definitely going to have to get with you because you put it all together then and make it show nice.
I love doing that. I love styling people. And then another thing that I do is I also sell Rodan & Fields skincare. I've been doing that for a few years, and I've been doing Stella and Dot for 5 years. And I do Rodan & Fields simply because it works. I had really bad, like cystic acne, hormonal acne, all kinds of acne, blackheads, whiteheads, this, that, and the other. And Rodan & Fields literally changed my life with the fact that when I started using the tools and I use the regimens regularly, I was like, I'm sold. So now, of course, I basically do my business so I can pay for my extensive skincare habit. I love all the products I've ever tried. And so that's kind of what I do on the side as well.
That's amazing. I love everything about the boutique. So I have a couple of questions for you, just in case
Sure.
anybody is in Florida listening to this. Where is your boutique booth located at in Florida?
Oh, perfect. Good question. It is actually it's in the largest antique mall in all of Florida. I'm in Pensacola, and the booth is called Miles Antique Mall, and it is on Bayou Boulevard. You can't miss it. It's over there, and I'm booth 1273, and it's called Jen's Gems. So if anybody happens to be listening and goes in there, I'd love for you to check out what I have.
Yes, awesome. And then let's say if they can't make it to the booth, as far as the Stellas, where can your website? Do you have a website? Do you message your clients?
I sure do. Yes.
Thing going on.
Thank you for asking. Yes, I do. I have a website. It's www.stelladot.com/Jennifer M. Meyer, and that's spelled JENNIFERMMEYER. And I would love to style your listeners.
I love that. I have to say that you're the first person that I've met that does that. or that
Really?
of, even that company. And I love fashion too. So definitely
Yes, check me out,
I'm
girl.
always just like,
I will
what
get you
scarf
styled.
can I wear with these earrings?
Yes, exactly. And I love answering those questions. Like when you wear a statement earring, you wear a more, moderate, a little bit more delicate necklace, those kind of things. Love answering those questions.
And then I totally love, I mean, I'm a huge, advocate for direct sales and in network marketing. And,
Yes,
I'm a big believer in, there's so many network marketing companies, including the one I'm in too. But the reason there's so many is because there's so many people in the world that they need to find what fits for them and what works for them. And, like
exactly.
builds work for your skin. And that's just amazing that you had that transformation and that you can help people that it would work for. So love that about you, that support all my fellow MLN sisters in doing their thing.
Yes, we get a bad rap sometimes. And really, the wonderful thing about being an entrepreneur, and especially with working in an MLM, direct sales, is that I don't have to carry my inventory. I don't have to ship it out. I don't
Mhm.
have to carry any of that. I just have samples and products that I use myself, things that I consume. And the best thing about being in that type of industry is that you can take it with you. And I mentioned I'm military, my husband's in the Air Force, and we literally have taken my businesses from Montgomery, Alabama to Germany. I lived in Germany for 3 years, and actually I was the most successful while being overseas. And then I was able to bring it right back to Pensacola, Florida, and no time ever passed, no problems, no issues, super easy to kind of, when you wear and share it, or when your skin looks, clear and good, you feel confident, and it kind of shows. And so people will ask me, oh, I really like that top that you're wearing. I like that piece of jewelry that you have on, or, oh, your skin looks, really clear. I remember you used to have some issues. What are you doing now? So it's nice that you can take these businesses with you when you go places,
Oh
when you
yeah.
move, and when you're on the go for travel even.
Yes, and another thing is, I know you said we sometimes get a bad rap, and that's so true.
Mhm.
But I think to myself, like, you buy this stuff at the grocery store. Like, people buy
Yes.
vitamins, people buy skincare, people buy drinks, and when something goes wrong or it's not working for you or you have an allergic reaction, like, you can't call nobody
Yes.
to help you.
That's true. And
Like,
that's the lovely thing about working for yourself like this, is because people choose to work with you because there is a relationship there.
yes.
You can, battle for them if they need to return something or something isn't right. You're their best advocate, and you're like that middleman that they need to back them up. So I love the fact, like you mentioned, that it's really all about the customer connection that you have. I think that's what makes it special for someone to shop from you. And why wouldn't you want to support people that you know personally? And I think it's great too, because you trust their opinion. You trust that if they're wearing it, they're using it, they're consuming it, they're buying it themselves, that it's something that you might want to try. And every time I've supported a fellow sister that has an MLM, I love it. I absolutely like to do that. So anytime I'm able to, I seek out, being able to help other girls that are in business as well.
Oh yes, me too. I'll order detox waters from one girl, and
Awesome.
it's
That's
just like,
awesome.
it's just awesome just to share, and different things are just amazing, just to have, and just to have that connection. So I love that about you, and I can see the same spirit that I have about that.
Yes, yes, yes.
So Jennifer or Jen, how, when, let's just say your customer, messages you and they want you to match them, and how do you want them to feel when they what do your customers get from working with you, both in, the fashion and in your entrepreneur business as well?
So my big thing is confidence. It's something that, it's hard to come up with on your own. Some people are born with it. Some people are born out of the gate, hey, I'm confident. This is me. Hear me roar, that kind of thing. But I feel like what I can provide someone as far as style and as far as skincare goes is confidence. That's my main goal. Whether it be, this top, making sure it fits them well, making sure, maybe they're a little bit scared of wearing something that's more of a bold statement piece, like maybe a statement necklace. And they usually tend to wear things that are very basic, which is totally fine too. I like to encourage them to try something new, try something that might enhance, kind of make them feel good that day. I know me, ever since I was little, I loved when I would have a special outfit that I like felt confident, and I felt like when I wore it, I feel like I rocked the world, and it just made me feel great. I like to provide that for my customers. I like to get them to feeling great. And one thing that I can speak on too, as far as lack of confidence, when my skin was at its worst and I had cystic acne, I still remember this time. I was supposed to go to a luncheon with some of the girls that I know based on my husband's job. I actually didn't go, and that was hard for me because I love going to everything that I'm invited to. I make that kind of like a model of my life, but I didn't go because I remember I looked down and literally I had this cyst that was erupting that was as large as mine. I felt like I could see my profile down there, like almost as large as my nose. And I remember thinking, something's got to give. So that's when I decided to make a very clear choice in my skincare and make sure that I had my hormones in check as well. And I'm so thankful for that, because it really gives you a knock at your self-esteem when your face isn't clear, because that's like the first thing that people see when they look at you.
Even just, everything you said about what you wear, the way, your skin is, like, it can really take somebody's confidence down. Like,
yes.
And
how you present yourself, it really helps to feel good, because I guess I'm a proponent of, sort of like, if you feel good because your outsides look good. Sometimes if I'm like lacking in confidence or in kind of spirit or motivation, like I put like red on, because red is like my power color. Red is my favorite color. I love it. So I put a red lipstick on, and then I feel like I can conquer the day. I throw a statement piece on, even if it's just something, I'm not very dressed up, but I feel like once I throw that statement necklace on, I'm like, I am ready to take on the world. So I feel like sometimes you can express yourself and make yourself feel better sometimes when you take that minute to get a shower, do your hair, do your makeup, do whatever makes you feel good about yourself, in order to kind of talk yourself into feeling good about yourself. And then it does happen,
Yes, I agree. My thing is, I love earrings. So whatever I wear, I love like statement earrings. Like, I like my earrings to pop. I like people to be like, oh, I like your earrings.
Yes. When you have that pretty long dark hair where you can, either throw your hair up and have them really show, or they look nice with your hair. So I can see you being a statement earring girl.
Yeah, so you will get all your confidence shopping with Jen.
Exactly. Yeah.
That should be one of your slogans.
That's right.
Jen, one of the things that I know, I met you as, one of my Rise sisters, but when I met you and we started communicating, you told me about this awesome group that you have, that you formed, and it's called Tales of Tribe. And I love everything that you post in there. I enjoy being in there, but tell us a little bit about the group. How did it start? What was your vision with it? And where has it gone today?
Yes. So that kind of ties into confidence as well, which we just were speaking about. But I went to Rise Dallas, and I believe that's the one you went to too, Felicia. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So a girl named Brittany Sheeks was a gal that I saw do a video, because we were challenged by Trent Shelton at Rise Dallas, which is kind of cool, because right now, today is the first day of the Rise Fort Myers. I have a little bit of FOMO, but I'm super excited for the girls that are there right now and soaking up all of the love. And it's Rachel Hollis's actual birthday today, which is amazing. She turned 37 today.
I know. I woke up this morning. I told my husband, now I know why I'm so awesome. He goes, why? I'm like, because Rachel Hollis is born the day before my birthday, and we are Capricorns together.
Exactly. How awesome. Well, happy early birthday to you, Felicia. That's awesome. I hope you celebrate tomorrow.
Yes. He was
or
like,
tonight.
Wow.
Exactly. You're both Capricorns. But so I guess what I'm getting to is, I found Rachel Hollis. It was a year ago in September. I read her first book. Then I just like jumped all in, started listening to her podcast. I got all caught up. I literally listened to every single one of them. I watched her Start Today morning show. I've done all the things, let's put it that way. And so I went to Rise, felt totally on fire. I saw Brittany's video where she told something hard about herself. And instantly I just fell in love with her and just her spirit. And I was like, man, let's do something together, because she said she really wanted to try to carry on the Stand Up for Your Sister idea that they're probably doing today even at the conference, and make it more tangible for everybody, whether they've gone to a Rise conference, whether they know Rachel Hollis, we also kind of took the Jen Hatmaker story with kind of how elephants circle up for one another when the mom is giving birth, and they sort of kick up dust and keep the girl in the middle safe with her new baby. And whenever an elephant is down, they take up for each other like that. So we kind of took those bits of concepts and put it together to form Tales of the Tribe. And we are now a little over 1,000 women strong. Whoop, whoop, so excited. And Brittany and I so enjoy pouring ourselves into this group. The support that we see within that tribe, and I know you're in it, Felicia, so I'm so glad. And a couple of your past podcast interviews are in that group too. But we really love on each other. We really show up for each other. We're very open and transparent, because obviously you can't grow yourself or others without transparency. It leads to transformation. So I really highly encourage anybody that is interested in this personal development space and supporting one another. It is for girls only.
No,
we keep it that way just because sensitive. Yeah, it's nice to have a girl thing, right? But sensitive information is shared sometimes,
yes.
And so we kind of want to just keep everybody feeling comfortable. And so anyway, that's the Tales of the Tribe in a nutshell. But we are here for growing our group. I absolutely love it. My heart is into it, and I just get my cup gets filled every day by being in that group.
Yes, I love it too. I love being part of it, and you're doing such a great job. So, Jen, I remember that you added me, but can someone just like request to go in the group? Is there questions that they need to answer?
Very good question. Yes. So you can look up on Facebook, because we're not on Instagram, we're just on Facebook at this point. You can type in Tales of the Tribe, and it literally should pop up. It's I believe it's like a private group. So if you type that in, you should be able to still see it. You can't see into the group until you get, into the group after you answer the questions. So you just request to join. There's a few simple questions that just tell you, have you read the rules? It asks you if you're willing to abide by them, and just kind of asks if you're ready for something like this, where we share very openly within the group. And then once you say yes, you're in, and we can't wait to have you there.
Yes, and you just open your heart and share away. We have
love it.
amazing women in there.
Yes.
So Jen, you mentioned something, and this is probably a lot of military families right now, or
Mm-hmm.
everything that's going on is probably scared and a lot of mixed feelings. But tell us about some of the struggles as being a military family and a wife as well.
Yes. So now that, I'm supporting all these spouses and significant others that are, young, just kind of getting out of the college age, or like around the 20, starting their 20s, it takes me back to those times. And yes, it was difficult. I have to admit, like when my husband and I decided to get married, I left the job that I had, where I made more money than he did. I was in a successful career. I owned my own home, didn't live too far from home, had a great friend base, but I didn't have the husband. And fell in love with a military man, and decided this is the life that I'm going to go into. And so when I did, it was tough. I'm not going to lie. We had a roommate to kind of make ends meet, because you don't make a lot of money, especially when you first start out. And it was tough. I felt like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I left my whole life behind, to follow this man around the world. But I have to say, I wouldn't trade it. I literally look back on it, and all the experiences of, going from one place to another place has made myself resilient. It's made my kids ridiculously resilient. And then we've had the amazing chance to go to Germany and live and travel all around Europe, England, all those places. And so it's kind of made me realize that when you move, and this could be true for anybody, not just military folks, because I know there's a lot of people that travel for their husband's business. Maybe they move every few years. You just have to dive in, and you can't wait around to try to make really strong friendships. You literally just have to put yourself out there right away, not be worried about what other people are going to think of you. And that's actually my favorite Rachel thing. Her ism is that, other people's opinions are none of your business. And so you have to kind of be confident, channel your confidence, and just get out there, start your life in the new area, get to know the things that your kids, if you have kids, can get into, get to know the things that you can get into. If you're religious, find a church right away. Don't keep hopping, because it's hard to really settle in, because by the time you're settled in, you might be moving again. So you just have to kind of go all in. I guess that would be my biggest sort of advice for people that are in the military. It is tough because your spouse might be deployed. Like my husband's gone right now for some training for a week. But it's worth it. It's a tough life because you do have to, kind of channel your inner strength and be strong for yourself. And if you have kids, you have to be strong for your kids. It is tough because you sometimes have to leave careers behind. Like I went to college for a certain career. I was a professional before my husband and I got together, and I haven't really gotten to get back into that yet. But when my kids can drive themselves to school, I think then I'll get more back into a more solid career. Because I'm not going to be momming. I'm not going to be momming quite so hard then. So that'll be nice.
I love that. I'm not momming so hard.
Yes. This is the truth though, right? I mean, everybody moms so hard when you have kids.
That's so funny. I love that. Yes, but it's so true. So what are some of the things, I know you mentioned like, to get involved in things. What are some of the things that have helped you as a wife and as a mom when your husband is gone? Where did you turn to for support, and being alone at times and not having your husband around all the time?
I have to 100% say my church community, which I know if people are not religious, that is totally fine. You can find another way to connect and be supported. But honest to goodness, where I got my help from, especially when my husband was gone for a year, we went through a kind of devastating time in my family, which we can talk about next. But the church family was what held me up, lifted me up, made sure that, I had 2 young kids at the time that he was deployed. Actually, the first time he was deployed, I had my daughter, and she was only like not even a year old, I think, when we got pregnant with my son, because they were a year and a half apart. But I was pregnant with my son. And you need a little support during that time. And then the second time he was deployed, I had 2 little ones, and he missed both their first steps, both of their first birthdays. But luckily I had my family as well to go back to. So that's another thing I recommend, is still staying connected to your family wherever it is. And if you have to go to them, if they can't go to you, make sure you go there to feel that support and that comfort. But definitely my church family in the town that I was in North Carolina, they made the year apart so much better.
Wow, a year apart. That's something,
Yeah, it was.
So you mentioned, the power of support, and you seem to really, rely on that. You have that page that you support women. What happened in your life where you learned how to rely on the power of support?
Okay, so back, I guess it was 9 years almost exactly now, my parents were in a really bad car accident. They hit black ice, and we lost my dad instantly. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so I'm a high proponent. I guess I'm a proponent for wearing your seatbelt. I always have been, but that's just, you have to wear your seatbelt. That's just my one soapbox to get onto. But my mom was wearing her seatbelt, and she still, of course, suffered devastating injuries, and she barely made it out. And I feel like the support of my church family, the support of my Facebook community, because I made the decision once I got that phone call. I was actually at church when I got the phone call and missed it because my phone was on vibrate. And then I was in my Bible study after that. And then my kids and I were at our favorite Mexican restaurant we went to every single Sunday. And that's when I finally realized all those phone calls had flooded in, and they were not from my normal home's area code. So got that news. It was really hard. You kind of go through a little bit of shock when you get that news. But I knew that my mom was still alive and that she really needed me. So I was able to, my very best friend in my military community, she had 3 kids of her own, but she took my 2 kids on. And that allowed me, my church family, rallied around me and got me ready to get on the plane to go to be with my mom, to talk her into choosing life. She was definitely on the brink. So I got on that plane, and I remember thinking right before I got on the plane, Facebook is a tool, and I feel like I need support right now, and I'm going to go ahead and post this, and I hope that through my journey, I can help someone else through hard times. So I posted about my family, about the situation, my husband being gone. The Red Cross got Kyle back from overseas to me. And my very best friends, one of them I've had since I was 5 years old, and one that I had from college age, they rallied around me, picked me up at the airport, and stayed with me until my husband got there. And my family, of course, met at the hospital. But I felt so supported. I felt, the other thing I should mention too is God, his presence was so strong in my life when I needed it most, that it truly is real. It's a real thing when they say, you know, when you're down at your worst moment, you know, and you're down on your knees and you're praying, he will show up for you, and you're going to feel like a very large presence in your life. I mean, I felt him every step of the way. My mom was on, she was intubated and sort of on a sort of life support, kind of very scary time. And I had to make the decision about my dad. They didn't have wills. I had a lot of things that I had to do. I did the memorial before my mom, you know, could really, I planned it before she could talk. And then she did get, you know, she got unintubated, and then she got better. And Felicia, I can tell you, my mom is doing so well now. She has gone through a lot of other health issues right after that for a couple of years that we supported her with. But my mom is now helping her best friend through chemo for the last couple of years and drives her to all her appointments. And my mom was meant to be here. And I'm so thankful for that, because I couldn't have lost both my parents at the same time. So my Facebook community really rallied. There were Bible groups and just people posting that didn't even really know me that were praying for our family. And honest to goodness, there were some things that were questionable that we didn't know for sure if my mom was internally bleeding and if she'd had a heart attack and if these bones were broken or not. And Felicia, no kidding, after the prayer that came through for us and the show on Facebook and in our lives in person, my mom, she was healed from a lot of things. It was amazing. I have to say, Facebook can be a very good tool in getting the word out when you need help.
Yeah, that's amazing. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a religious person too. And I think what your story showed was definitely, you know, God granting you grace and grace
Yes.
for your family, and, you know, like people rallying. And, you know, I think of Facebook as a tool too, but it's also somewhere like you can't call up 5,000 friends or, you know, 3,000 friends in one phone call to tell them that you need support. You know, that
Exactly.
post that you made, you know, covered that. And that's kind of, you know, if you think about it, Facebook is kind of a blessing in that sense. Have something that we can, you know, make that call out for people. And one of the things that you did was you took that chance, you know, like when you're sitting on the airplane, you were just going to make this post because you needed support. And that's something that people need to be okay with. You have to be okay with reaching out for help. You know, everybody needs help. I think when you don't ask for support and you don't ask for help in hard times, I think that's where people can go down a very dark path.
Exactly. It's the bravest thing you can do to ask for help.
Yes, I agree 100%. And that's just amazing about your mom. And she was here for something, and, you know, to y'all, and, you know, so sorry about your dad, but, you know, it looks like your dad's, you know, life wasn't, you know, meant for something. It seems like a good head on your shoulders, and he definitely showed you a lot. So.
He was amazing. And so I'm just thankful for the time I had with him. I'm actually adopted too, Felicia. And so, I just feel very lucky to be here. And I feel lucky that I was placed with my mom and dad. I had the best role models growing up. Yeah. And that's, I think, where a lot of my confidence come from, because I think I was born with this kind of, I have always been really like kind of high energy and bubbly. You probably can tell I'm a little energetic, but I need to slow down sometimes. But I think they were great because they let me be confident. They let me, like, I didn't let my mom walk me to the first day of kindergarten. I was that silly. And so I guess I feel like very lucky that and blessed that they let me be myself and be very independent, you know. So I feel like my confidence came from them supporting the way I was, not trying to change me.
And something, you know, that I noticed, you know, about being adopted with, you know, I have friends who are adopted, is that your personality really you really get to become you. And I mean that because, like, you know, you don't have it like, well, it's in your mom's genes or in your dad's genes, like the way, you know, normal, you know, kids that are born, you know, biologically to their parents. We say that to our kids, like, you get it from your dad. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's a great perspective. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, you know, having the parents that you had, they let you become who you were meant to be. You know what I
love
mean?
that.
Even though you were
thanks for that perspective.
adopted. And I just think that's something that I've noticed about anybody that, you know, I've interviewed or that I have in my life that's adopted. I'm just like, isn't that a beautiful thing, though, that you got to become who you are?
Exactly. And my mom always told me, she was like, we chose you. You know, you feel very blessed because you were chosen. And I'm like, that's an awesome way to put it. But
Yeah.
I'm a big, I would love anybody that, maybe can't have their own kids or maybe they have all boys and they want a girl, or they feel the calling on their heart to be foster parents and then to adopt. I just think it's the most amazing gift you can give yourself and that child. I think it's I want to get more involved actually with like foster families and adoption. I think that's where my passion sort of lies. And I think that's where you'll see me headed at some point,
That's awesome.
to try to support that community.
Yes, definitely. A speaker, or I can see you up there, helping families and helping
Yes.
children, because I'm sure adoption is, it's not an easy process for a child to know that they're adopted and, the process that goes with it. So I'm sure someone that's been through it, that's walked the walk, can definitely be an inspiration to the children that are going through it. So I love that. So Jen, it's 2020, it's a new decade, it's a new year. What are some of the things that you're taking into this year to just help you keep balance in your life and your entrepreneurship and your businesses, being a military wife, the kids, and in your dreams too?
Great question. So I attended Rise Business last fall, and that was Rachel Hollis's Rise Business Conference. And with the fact that I'm just in this amazing community of people and that want to do better and that strive to be better people, to be their best selves, personal development was never a thing I took seriously before, September of last year. Or I guess I should say the year before, in 2018. But I feel like all the things that, so for instance, like the 5 to Thrive that you do in Rachel's community for the last 90 days, I did it half-heartedly the first year, but then this year I went all in and I did it. And I feel like all those steps that you take along the way to strengthen kind of those tools you put in your toolbox are amazing. Maybe you don't, relate with Rachel Hollis. Maybe you relate to Dave. Maybe you relate to Mel Robbins, Brene Brown, Brandon Bouchard, Trent Shelton, someone else. Maybe I think my advice would be to sort of find who you connect to, even if they're a mentor from far away. Just make sure you grab onto mentors, whether they know they're your mentor or not. I have started following and really digging down deep and doing the work with some of those different personal development people. And I feel like the fact that I have those sort of tools in my toolbox have allowed me to show up for my family better. They've allowed me to be a stronger entrepreneur from the things I learned at Rise Business. They've allowed me to start this, it took confidence to start that Tales of the Tribe group with Brittany, because we didn't know, we could have really doubted ourselves and said, who are we to try to start this group? We don't have a background in nurturing others or counseling others, or really a background in much of a Facebook group like that's grown like it has. But I feel like you just have to put yourself out there. And so I'm really taking these tools that I've learned throughout this last year, especially, and I'm making my 2020 strong. I am loving the fact that I'm really being more dedicated to time blocking my time, because I'm a procrastinator by nature. I will put something off until the very last minute. And I did well in school this way, though. I would literally do all-nighters. I don't recommend this if you're in college. Don't be listening to that. But I'm like better when I put pressure on myself. And so I feel like I'm trying to take a step back, though, and really be more intentional with my time and keep up with the things I say I'm going to do, because a lot of times I start things and I don't finish them. So I'm doing like Mel Robbins' Best Decade Ever right now. I'm helping with like a rerun group that is focusing back on Rachel's life coaching from last year, month by month. And we're doing a book club in Tales of the Tribe, Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable. And so I'm one of those where if I am in charge of something, I tend to show up because I love showing up for others. I'm one of those where if I'm supposed to do a workout, I won't do it at home. I do it at the gym. So like, I'm definitely an accountability person. Like, I need to have a group of people counting on me for me to show up for myself, which is good and bad, I guess.
No, it's good. I'm a lot like that too, but I think it's just our spirits, and people, they work a certain way. Some people are planners where they have to plan and they don't do good under crunch time. And then some people are planners like us, but we do great under crunch time. We're like,
exactly.
we like the feeling.
pre-planner, but I'm getting better. I'm getting much better. I'm kind of one of those where I like to kind of fly by the seat of my pants and get new experiences. Like I'm one of those where I won't ever read a book twice, and I don't ever watch a movie twice. I have a couple exceptions, but I'm kind of funny because I always want new experiences. Like when we were living in Europe, I didn't really want to go to the same place twice. I wanted to try a new adventure. So I guess I'm one of those that really feel strong about trying new things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Jen, going into the new year, what is, my favorite thing to always end the show is to have you share your favorite empowerment quote. Now, I know you might have more than one, but what is one that you are going to go back to during this year when you're in a rough patch or, just when you need motivation or just to uplift yourself? What is that quote that is going to run through your head?
Okay. Well, I already kind of mentioned Rachel Hollis's, someone else's opinion is none of your business. But I also love, and it really stuck with me, is I tend to be a people pleaser. And so I'm like a rehabbing people pleaser right now. I'm trying to, so I guess I have a couple more I'd like to share. So one of them is Jen Hatmaker's that Rachel mentioned, but if it's not a heck yes, it's a no. So I'm really trying to be that sort of intentional person where I'm not just saying yes to every single thing that someone asks me to do. And so I really highly encourage people to take a step back and really evaluate what's important to them. And if someone else could do that thing, let someone else do that thing. Don't feel like you're the one that has to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And another one that I will close with would be the one about letting people that have cheap seats in the front row. Don't do it. Like, literally, don't let someone that has the cheap seats get a front row opinion in your life,
Oh my God, I love that one.
Do you love it? I love it too. And I've been trying to live by that. I love it.
I think I'm going to live by that this year.
You do it, Felicia. You do it. But, really figuring out who is important to you and whose opinion is important to you. And also take it with a grain of salt. Make it what is something that really is going to move the needle forward in your life this year in 2020.
That's
be more focused on that. Yeah.
And I love all the work that you're doing, mindset and everything you said, like you said before, you never really cared about working on yourself, but the power, personal development. If you're not doing it, I'm sure Jen and me, we both encourage you. If you're listening to this, start somewhere. Start with the podcast, start with the book.
Yes. It only takes one thing, right? It takes one thing to get your curiosity sparked, and then just go with that spark and let it turn into a big old fire that rages out there and gets you on fire for your life and for bettering yourself.
That person who, like you said, find that person that is your jam.
Yes.
That listen to. For us, it's Rachel Hollis and Mel Robbins, but it might not be that for you. Like you said, it might be Tony Robbins, or it might be Sarah Robbins, or somewhere. So listen to different people. That was something that I felt. In 2019, I had a lot of lessons, but one of the lessons was, what am I going to turn to? What am I going to listen to? Who's going to be feeding my brain? And who am I going to be able to count on? And I pick those people. It's amazing. I pick people, in my running community, and I work out at 3 different gyms. I picked one at each gym, my best friends. Like, I had to really be the one that says, I need accountability. I need your help. And I would like your support in this year.
That's awesome.
And, some of it takes a lot for someone to go to someone like that. I know 2019, I didn't do that. I tried to do everything, on my own, and it didn't work. Like, I had to learn this year that there's different areas in my life and different people in my life that I need and that I want their support. And I think if you're listening to this, you don't have a support system, think about who you can count on.
Exactly.
If you want to join Jen's group, like, join us. It's an amazing group we're part of. And if you don't have those people in your life, I think sometimes people feel like, well, I don't have those friends. I don't have those people. Well, that's what Facebook and Instagram is for now. You got to go find them.
Yes.
You got to ask.
I agree.
Can you be my friend? Friend request them.
Yes. I mean, there's some articles that we recently have featured within our tribe that explain that sometimes your very best friend can be the one that you found on the internet, the one that's long distance to you. you are who you surround yourself with, right? Like you learn this when you start studying personal development. And so, yes, you need to surround yourself. If you're the smartest person, the most successful person in your circle, get a new circle. It doesn't mean you have to ditch and lose those people that you care about that were in your old circle, but you definitely want to always be growing and going forward. And one thing I've learned, I think Trent Shelton's who I heard it from recently, but the most recently, but I've heard it from several of the personal development gurus, is that when you're looking around to try to find those people that mean the most in your life, you have to think of not how they're treating you, but how they treat other people. And if they're needing to change, if they're making changes in their own lives, and kind of figure out their character. And if someone was with you during a really hard time, like when you're down in the trenches and they're not just trying to kind of throw you a rope, but they're like literally getting down in the trenches with you, you know that person is there for the right reasons for you. If someone has been there for a long time and they've consistently shown up, then those are the kind of people you need to fill your life with. And Tales of the Tribe has been amazing because I feel like, especially like probably 25 of the girls that comment the most and stuff, I feel like they're like best friends just in different areas. And I feel like I've gotten to know them, even though they're internet friends. You know, we're practical strangers in some ways. But like when I met Brittany in person for the first time at Rise Business, it was amazing. It was just an amazing feeling. So I say, just throw yourself out there to new experiences, to new people, and to new ways of finding people to do experiences with. Like you said, Facebook, different groups, you know, just find your jam. Like you said, find your people.
I love that.
Find your tribe.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Jen. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I will be going to Florida in March.
Look me up.
Yeah, the podcast convention. It's one of,
oh my
I'm excited
goodness.
about it. I just found out the dates. So when I go up there, I'll make sure I get in contact with you and maybe we can
Please do
something. So, but thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing. I know your audience, my audience is absolutely going to love the interview. Thank you for just being you. And I wish you and your family and your husband, who's, you know, deployed right now, that, you know, that he comes back in safety. And I wish y'all such a great year in 2020.
Thank you so much, Felicia. I really enjoyed our talk.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening, and feel free to leave us a review.